Mojang just released the first snapshot for Minecraft's 2025 spring game drop, and with it comes the addition of new falling leaves, plants, and pig variants. While these may seem like minor features, they go a long way in making the biomes feel more lively and visually appealing. With the few features we've seen so far, it's safe to say that Mojang's next major update will likely be focused on ambience and overworld improvements. This update has the potential to introduce a variety of simple yet valuable features that will make the overworld feel more immersive and overall just enhance the player experience when exploring. With that in mind, here are a few features I think would be a perfect fit for this next game drop. One of the first features I expect to see in this upcoming update is the Birch forest concept art that was revealed when the wild update was initially announced. This concept art showcased a rework of the birch forest with new flowers, plants, and even fungi growing on the trees. If this update is truly focused on ambience, I wouldn't mind if Mojang added a variety of features that serve mainly aesthetic purposes. After all, new flowers don't need to be complicated. These additions would do wonders to differentiate the birch forest from other biomes. In fact, based on the snapshot we received, the tree generation appears to be much taller, at least from what I've noticed, possibly resembling the trees seen in the concept art. So perhaps Mojang is making room for the rest of that concept in a future snapshot. Another feature that was unfortunately left out of the final version of the wild update was fireflies. These little creatures could spawn in various temperature biomes like birch forest, oak forest, and swamps, adding soft lighting to the environment at night. I think a great feature would be allowing you to catch them in a bottle and place them within your builds, where they would be contained in a 5x5 radius around the block where they were originally placed. Once again, this is a simple feature that wouldn't require much work, but would perfectly complement the direction this update seems to be taking. While the current trend for this update seems to be revitalizing older biomes, I believe adding a new one could be a great move as well. What would this new biome be? Well, a lot of players have expressed interest in seeing seasons added to Minecraft, and while I personally feel that seasons could be a bit problematic since they would change the world without the player's control, one season that we definitely have been missing is autumn. Imagine a biome with vibrant yellow, orange, and red leaves. Autumn is personally my favorite season, and although I use a texture pack to change the color of the leaves during the fall, why not just make it its own biome? It wouldn't need to be overly complex, just changing the leaves colors and tinting the grass to a more orange hue would be enough. Adding more fallen leaves to the ground and scattering pumpkins and wheat fields throughout would make it feel even more seasonal. You could also add new versions of the wildflowers in this autumn themed biome, coming in colors like orange and dark orange. This would help distinguish this biome from the birch forest, which currently features yellow wildflowers. Moving on from biomes, I think the return of the Moobloom would be a very fitting addition to this update. As it's already brought new flowers and plant life to the game, this just feels like the perfect mob to add alongside these features. The Moobloom could be found scattered throughout the birch forest, and as for its unique function, well, when originally revealed, Mojang said they would have an exclusive function when paired with bees. How would this work? I really have no idea, but I'm sure Mojang could find a way to make this pairing relevant. Not to mention, it would yet again bring more life to the birch forest and give people an actual reason to go out of their way and visit the biome. Another lost mob that could come in the spring drop is crabs. Crabs were a part of the last mob vote and could be found on beaches. When killed, crabs would drop a crab claw, which could be used to craft a tool that allowed the player to place and break blocks from further away. How far away? Well, it wasn't exactly confirmed, but I think even having 2 or 3 blocks made available would be wildly useful for builders. It could simply just be used by placing the crab claw in your offhand. My two questions though are whether or not it should be allowed to be used in combat, and whether or not it should have a durability to prevent it from being a feature that once you have one, you never need to interact with the crab again. If Mojang does add the crab too, I also hope they drop food you can cook like a crab leg, or have the crab leg be used with other ingredients to make crab cake. I know there's no real need for new food in the game, but I kinda just like the idea of this. Since crabs would be found on beaches, it would make sense to improve the beach biome itself. Mojang could finally add palm trees with a new wood set, sand carpets to break up the terrain, and seashells that function in the same way wildflowers do. I gotta say, while I would like to see this, I don't really think it's gonna be likely for the next drop, as I don't see us getting multiple new biomes. In reality, I think we'll get a variety of new features, but the main focus will be on revamping the birch forest. If they do decide to add multiple biomes though, an autumn or a beach biome would be perfect. Now guys, I do want to take a a quick pause in the video to remind you that liking this video is completely free and helps me out quite a lot, as well as subscribing so you never miss out on another video just like this one. You did it? Great, thanks. Back to the video. With that, another feature I would like to see, which I sort of already mentioned with the wildflower variants, is a variation to the new leaf litter plant. This is another simple ask, but simply adding a few recolors that fit the surrounding biome would yet again add more variety to each biome. The texture can literally be the same thing, just change the color to match the surrounding biome, and then the base leaf litter can be spread between these. As currently, I definitely think it spawns way too frequently, and it is way too much brown. I think having some green and dark green variants would help break it up a lot. Or if they do decide to add an autumn themed biome, the current leaf litter would definitely fit the best there. So if they do add an autumn biome, maybe they could have it spawn way more frequently there. Next up, we have a feature that's been mentioned in almost every update idea video ever, but this is an ambient update and ambient sounds only make sense. These should be unique to each biome, yet again, just making your experience exploring each biome feel vastly different. They should also keep these sounds very subtle, as I find that a lot of the mods that add ambient sounds include things like birds chirping, which is unnecessary to me and honestly a bit off-putting since there's no birds actually found in the biome. It should be simple things like forests having leaves sway, in the deserts you can hear the sound of wind blowing sand dunes, and rivers could have flowing water sounds. I think you get the idea. Now, while I did just mention they should avoid adding sounds that don't make sense like birds chirping, I would love for them to finally actually add basic birds to the game that fly around forests. While many people complain about Mojang adding mobs that have no purpose like the polar bear, there are some that I do think make sense to be added as simply just features to add to the world's liveliness. You don't need to have some unique function that drops an item used to craft something. They could simply just drop bird meat when killed. Maybe they could even add worms that could be found on the ground and used to breed the birds. I think the birds should be like the tropical fish and that they literally come in hundreds of different variations, changing a simple color, shape, and size. Do these tropical fish actually do anything useful? Well, no, not really, but they sure do add to the actual experience of exploring a warm ocean biome. I think doing something similar with birds would be phenomenal, and maybe they could have variations more commonly found in different biomes, like having birds with a gray and white color scheme found more frequently in like a snowy taiga. With this though, I do think they should all come from the same spawn egg. On a similar note, since we got 2 new variations for pigs depending on the type of biome they're in, why not do the same for cows and chickens? I know there's hundreds of texture packs out there that already do this, but this is something that is seriously simple to add and is just a nice addition as they already did with the pigs. To further expand upon this, why not add even more variations to mobs like the pigs, taken from the designs in Minecraft Earth and adding things like the muddy pig. Like I said before, all the same spawn egg, all the same mob, just a different texture. It's not hard to add and goes a long way towards differentiating these mobs. Another generation feature that would significantly improve the game's ambience is naturally generating waterfalls. While waterfalls do exist in Minecraft, they often don't leave a lasting impression. I think back to the Buzzy Bee trailer where we saw a massive waterfall, and I believe something like that would make the game world way more awe-inspiring. A large, naturally occurring waterfall would be an amazing feature. I'm willing to bet that tons of people would set up base around these structures, and depending on how difficult it is to code, Mojang could even add the chance to find caves behind these waterfalls as well. This would just be so sick to explore and would open up for some great spots to build and colonize your base. Lastly, if Mojang is focusing on ambience in the next drop, they really should just revisit the Pale Garden biome and add fog. This small addition would make the biome feel much more immersive, preventing you from seeing the rest of the world clearly outside of the biome. Although the Pale Garden has been made larger in the latest snapshot, adding fog would still help complete the atmosphere. I mean, they even had fog in the biome in the Game Drops trailer. It's a small addition that would make a big impact. Even though we've only seen a few features so far for Minecraft's spring game drop, the potential for this update is huge. An ambience focus update has been highly requested by the community for the longest time, and while we don't yet know the scale of this update, there's a lot that can be done. Things like revisiting old mob votes and concept art would also definitely make a large portion of the community very happy. But what do you think about the features I mentioned? Do you have any ideas of your own you'd like to see implemented? I'd love to continue this conversation, so leave any thoughts you have down in the comments below. Now, a quick reminder that if you did enjoy this video, a like is greatly appreciated and goes a long way towards helping the channel out, as well as subscribing so you never miss out on another video just like this one. It's completely free and really helps me out a lot. Anyways guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.